Jerry Seinfeld got booed. Have y'all heard about this? Seinfeld. You know how Seinfeld has like the biggest inventory of Porsches in the world. In the world, Seinfeld has the biggest inventory of Porsches in the world. And he was invited to do the commencement speech at Duke. And then I heard that he got booed as a result of it because of his support for Israel. Can't make this up. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.
Deal about our commencement speaker?
See all the kids leaving?
So,
I totally admire the
So some people was actually in his corner.
ambitions of your generation to create a more just and inclusive society. I think it is also wonderful that you care so much about not hurting other people's feelings. In the million and one ways, we all do that every second of every day. It's lovely to want to fix those things, but, all caps, but, what I need to tell you as a comedian, do not lose your sense of humor. You can have no idea at this point in your life how much you are going to need it to get through. Not enough of life makes sense for you to be able to survive it without humor. And I know all of you here are going to use all of your brains and muscle and soul to improve the world, and I know you're going to do a bang-up job. And when you're done, as I am now, I bet the world, because of you, will be a much better place. But it will still not make a whole hell of a lot of sense. It'll be a better, different, but still pretty insane mess.
So let me go ahead and do another breakdown of it to know even more about why it is that they walked out. So I'm going to take it from a different source. You know, I like to source my information from all different sources: CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, all the local news or whatever. So we're going to get CNN's take on this thing to get the more liberal view of this whole situation.
The pro-Palestinian protests that engulfed college campuses have now found a new stage, the graduation stage. At Duke University Sunday, about 30 students walked out of the commencement ceremony as comedian Jerry Seinfeld was being introduced. Seinfeld has supported Israel throughout the war against Hamas in Gaza, and here is some of what he then said in his address.
I totally admire the ambitions of your generation to create a more just and inclusive society. I think it is also wonderful that you care so much about not hurting other people's feelings. In the million and one ways, we all do that every second of every day. It's lovely to want to fix those things.
That is far from the only protest to hit college commencement ceremonies over the weekend. CNN's Nick Valencia joins us now. What all happened, Nick?
Yeah, hey, Kate, good morning. Commencement season is upon us, and these pro-Palestinian demonstrators are choosing to voice their opposition to the war in Gaza in a variety of ways, some continuing to call for a ceasefire. And over the weekend, we saw that at commencement ceremonies across the country, really. Some chanted, others held signs, some draped themselves in Palestinian flags, calling for their schools to divest from Israel. But for the most part, these ceremonies went on without a hitch. In Southern California, though, there was a brief interruption. According to the New York Times, at least one person was arrested over a skirmish outside of Pomona College's graduation. They had to move their graduation 30 miles away from their campus. And at Duke University, we saw what happened there in the intro. Comedian Jerry Seinfeld, who's been a very vocal supporter of Israel since the Hamas terrorist attack on October 7th, he was protested by a few dozen pro-Palestinian demonstrators who chose to walk out and have their own commencement ceremony. Across the country in California, at UC Berkeley, the dean of students had to take the microphone. There was a pause in ceremony there. And listen to what the dean of students had to say to try to get control again of that graduation ceremony.
Students, if you're open to it, I invite you to speak with me after the event in a space that's more appropriate. But in the meanwhile, I ask that you allow the program to continue. Okay? Because otherwise we're going to have to continue to have you leave, and that breaks my heart. So
The ceremony did continue. No one was arrested, and those demonstrators, we understand, did leave voluntarily. More commencement addresses and graduation ceremonies are planned across the country this week, and we're starting to see some schools try to get ahead of these potential demonstrations. We're just learning the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee has reached an agreement with pro-Palestinian demonstrators to dismantle their encampment by tomorrow. In exchange, they've agreed not to interrupt a graduation ceremony. In exchange, the university will join calls now for a ceasefire in Gaza.
Never, ever, under any circumstance, never, ever negotiate with terrorists. And when I say terrorists, I mean that people that are willing to disrupt, dismantle, and then put you as an op, and you don't even have anything. Look, I'm all for differences of opinions. As a matter of fact, one of the things that I advocate for, even in my own chats, is for people, when they disagree with me, don't mute them, don't silence them, let them get it off. As long as they're not being overly disrespectful, then let them get it off. Let them rock out. And then, we can have discourse. I open up my platforms to people that think differently than me. I don't ever want to be in an echo chamber, right? And so I advocate for people that have a difference of opinion. But what I don't advocate for is for you to break the law or you to be so disruptive to other people, like the Googlers, the 28 people that got fired from Google that took over their boss's office or took over the CEO's office, or people that's protesting outside of the law, right? I don't believe in that. I don't stand for that. And I think that when you give them an inch, they take a mile. And then when you start negotiating with people, it make it much more difficult. The minute that you start being firm and you start making sure that these people understand that there's consequences that goes outside of the law, because it's a difference between peaceful protesting and disrupting everybody else's experience. And so I'm sure that it's a lot of people that may not necessarily see things the way that you see. So you're going to bully them. You're going to bully them into an uncomfortable situation when they paid their money and they did their work and they had this graduation ceremony and they trying to have a commencement speech and they trying to experience the best of it. Their biggest memory of it is supposed to be you that selfish to where you hijack people's experience and you make it yours just to make. Listen, it's the same thing when it came to Black Lives Matters, which we found out that was a fraud organization. We knew that it was a Marxist organization. We knew that they was finessing y'all. And y'all got mad at Candace Owens and y'all still look at Candace Owens as the ops. But we never came back to the front and said, y'all was right. They was wrong. We wanted to paint the whole NBA court negatively. We wanted to put a whole bunch of words on the back of the NBA players' jerseys during the lockout. Like, we didn't need any more divisiveness at that particular time. Y'all wanted to burn up AutoZone and they told y'all that it was just large gatherings. Oh my God, listen, man, it was looters. That's people that was opportunistic, that was breaking into stores, tearing up and making it a food desert. And then y'all justified it by saying, well, it's in the name of protesting. Anybody, okay, all right, so I give you another one. Because when they allegedly stormed the Capitol, y'all was upset about that though, right? Oh, that's an insurrection. Okay, so at what point do what group of people is classified as a specific thing? Is it just because of the skin color? Is it because of the issue that they get mad at? Or is it because it's not you? So if it's you, we supposed to have special circumstances. But if it's them, then it's supposed to be an insurrection, right? I'm just trying to figure it out. At what point does a disagreement or a protest turns into breaking the law, and then are we having it equal across the board depending on who's doing it? And is this all really just a distraction in the first place?
Kate.
Nick Valencia, thank you so much.
Jerry is also serving as our commencement speaker today.
Well, about 30 students walked out as the comedian was introduced. You can see some students waving the Palestinian flag. Here's how Seinfeld responded.
And I know all of you here are going to use all of your brains and muscle and soul to improve the world, and I know you're going to do a bang-up job. And when you're done, as I am now, I bet the world, because of you, will be a much better place. But it will still not make a whole hell of a lot of sense.
I don't think that y'all realize that y'all not affecting these people. Just because y'all walked out of your own graduation, that's your experience. I'm pretty sure that Seinfeld is going to go on to live his life. He's going to buy more Porsches. He's going to buy more garages. He's going to be richer than ever. He's always going to make a whole bunch of money. And so y'all protesting against him is not going to change anything. Why don't y'all do something more meaningful, like fix your own community, vote better, participate in stuff that actually works, instead of asking somebody to do something that you're not willing to do yourself? Just my opinion, anyways. I can't stand when people break the law to do something just because they disagree with whatever it is that's going on in society.